Good afternoon, this is Nate Riesen with Jon Lancaster, Toyota in Madisom, Wisconsin. Back, another look at the Scion FRS. Sorry about the first video, she got cut a little short, the phone was ringing, I had to go. But I wanted to talk more about the engine compartment, the exhaust, the turn ratio, the interior. Dude, this is such a cool car. Back to the discussion about the engine. So, Subaru made the engine, but, you know, I guess it's important to note that, for example, the blocks, the rods, the crank, the pistons, those are all new design. They're all new. They're not coming from some, you know, I don't even know what else had a 2-liter, but they're not coming from some other Subaru model from days ago. This is all new for both the Scion FRS and the Subaru BRZ. Under the hood, that 2-liter sits really low, obviously contributing to the center of gravity. And I left it run because I am a Toyota salesman. I'm a die-hard Toyota guy. And even though Subaru and Toyota have done some things in the past, for example, they put Camrys together for us in Indiana, and who knows what else we do. Man, that's the nicest Subaru engine I've ever heard. So my experience is primarily with these things as trade-ins, and I drive them and they sound like somebody's got a steel coffee can and I'm rattling coins together inside them. I'm like, man, they sound crazy. This thing sounds really good. I think a lot of the clicking that I hear sounds like a Lexus is probably the direct fuel injection. And I want to point out that on the top of that engine you see Toyota's name, and it says Toyota D4S. D4S is not the engine model, that's the Toyota's direct fuel injection system. It actually uses both direct and port, and then the Boxer and Subaru, because obviously Subaru designed the engine. Now this car is the automatic. It's the 6-speed automatic with sequential or paddle shifting. That automatic came out of the Lexus IS 350. So it isn't your traditional Toyota transmission that is soft and supple and nice. This thing actually bangs through the gears. On the downshift, when you grab a gear, it will bump the throttle to rev match that next gear. So when you bang it down in lower gear and stand on it to go through a corner, or just driving around, it's right there. It's right there. There's not that weird lag where you kind of move forward like this. No. You grab the gear and away you go. But, you know, I hope that this video shows how low that engine sits in that compartment. So if I back away a little bit and try to stay low, look at where that engine is. You can just still see the top of it compared to the wheel. Wow. Look at the overhang on the car. Not much. And again, so keep your eyeball focused on that overhang as I stand up. See the motor? Holy crap. Well done. 57% weight up front. I'm sorry, 53% up front, 47 out back. And look at the rear overhang. Wow. Wheels are pushed out. They're pushed all the way back, all the way forward. Nicely done. You'd expect it, but there's double wishbone suspension out back. Really nice suspension. I'm not sure that I can show much to you. And while we're under here, listen to her run. Take a look at that Torsen Torsen rear differential, 410 gears. Can you hear it idle? Now, one thing, when I was able to drive this car at the Scion launch, one thing that really impressed me is how this car steered. You look at that steering wheel, it's perfectly round. It isn't flat on the bottom like we've been doing on Scion TC, Toyota Corolla S. It's round so that you're never lost when you're spinning the wheel. So I'm going to show you something. I'm going to spin that wheel. I'm going to go from center, 1 revolution, and look at where the wheel is. That's 1 revolution. 1 revolution back to center, 1 more all the way back to far right. Really easy to do. And I love that Toyota kept the interior so clean. It's so clean. We don't need steering wheel controls for the radio, for the Bluetooth. We don't need any of that. Keep it clean, and they did. Look at the lines. Over here, all this. That hood is aluminum for lightweight. The roof has got that little design in it, kind of like a W. Dude, that's off a Prius, man. They learned some things with Prius in terms of how wind should go over a car. That little design directs the wind flow right over the back of the car, down on the hood, give it a little rear downforce without having to put a spoiler on it. Now, I personally think this car would look pretty cool with a big, nasty spoiler on it. But even as it sits, it looks good. Let's get inside, show you a few things. There's a couple of unique things inside here. So, it has a back seat. Why? I don't know, but it has one. And the back seat will lay down, and when it does, it's meant to hold 4 tires and a helmet. I think that's really the main reason they put it there. As I pop in, look at the seat. It's got this really neat, grippy fabric surface on it. It's got these huge bolsters. It's really meant to be a racing seat, so you sit really nicely in the car. And look across, nothing in the way. Reasonable armrest, it's small. You're not really going to use it much if you drift in the car. Handle to grab onto if you need to. Really nice. Window switches tucked up and out of the way. Door handle, way forward, out of the way. Soft textures on that door, so if you're leaning against it, it's not abusive. It's nice. Looking out the back, my one complaint, that brake light. You know, I understand the DOT requires it. It would have been nice if it was mounted low. So if you think about the back of the car, you've got the white, the center red triangle, and then the white. Those are brake lights. I'm sorry, those are backup lights, not brake lights. The red center triangle doesn't really do anything, but it's cool. So I'm going to turn around here. And look at how they did the instrument panel. Speedometer's on the left. Big analog. Tachometer right in the center. And the car loves to be above 4,000 RPMs. It just loves it. Speedometer's digital there. You can see the outside temperature. And so where the outside temperature is, we can press a button. It's on the left. I'm not going to reach it, but it's just beyond the light switch. We can see trip meters. We can actually set the rev limiter. So we can set this thing to, with the manuals, you can set it to blink a red light on the tachometer to tell you when to upshift. On the automatic, you can set it to red, so it will also do the rev limiter just the same. Fuel gauge, temperature gauge, all there. Interior is very easy. This is an automatic. It does look like a manual, but it makes life very easy to put it into manual mode and shift with the paddle shifters if you want to. But the car is so good in automatic mode. In just normal old mode, let the car shift. It's so good. Radio, AM, FM, CD, Bluetooth, great. USB, yeah, great. You know, normal things that you should have on the car, but it's not what this thing's about. So, nice that they put it there, all standard. We have a VSC Sport mode that lets us get the tail out just a little bit. You've got a traction off to spin the tires. Push and hold it a second time to turn off all the technology. And then the stability goes off. Then she's a real drift machine. You've got a Sport mode for the shifting. That just revs the car up a little bit more before it grabs a gear, so you take full advantage of the torquiness of this engine. As I mentioned, it loves to be between 4,000 and 7,000 RPMs. And there's a Snow mode, which I hope just brings up a light on the dash that says, dude, take me home. This isn't a snow car, but in the event that you find some snow, push Snow mode. It'll change the shift points. Try to put a little less torque to the wheels so you don't spin out, but don't drive this in the snow. Big old handbrake in the middle, we all know what that's for. It could be a good time. That's the interior of the 2013 Scion FRS. It's a really well done car. One last thing. There's a little line right up in the center of the dash. You can see it. It's just kind of a little fin. The purpose of that machine there is to give you an idea of where the center point of the car is. Imagine we got this thing in a drift, and we need to know where the center of the car is. It's right there. It's neat little things that they did with this car. So I'm going to pop out. It's a nice car. This is Nate Riesen with Jon Lancaster, Toyota in sunny Madisom, Wisconsin. This is the 2013 Scion FRS. I'm in love. I hope you are too. If you have a question, email it, leave a comment, give me a call. Nate Riesen, Jon Lancaster, Toyota. Have a beautiful day.